And Denise and Michael are here as well, but obviously top of the bill tonight. At any stage, did you have any doubts over those 7 events?
Yeah, the whole way, to be honest. It was a completely different competition to last year in Berlin, and I was pushed the whole way. I think 2 real big turning points were definitely in the shot put and in the javelin.
Well, I mean, you got off to such a flyer, though, didn't you, with the hurdles? That must have really made you think, right, you know you're in good shape, but then suddenly the proof of the pudding is there in the time, and you're off.
Yeah, the hurdles, the high jump, they're 2 of my strongest events. So it's great to open up with those events, and I'm confident in those events, and just hoping that I could perform to my best and start well.
It was only 18 points before the last event, and we were discussing here about there's quite a long gap between the 6th and 7th discipline, and we were talking to Denise about the only thing perhaps that could go wrong then is your mind gets the better of you. So what did you do in that intervening period?
I just had a little bit of a rest. I had a lay down and just kind of rested my eyes for a bit, and then just put the iPod in and tried to preoccupy my mind a little bit and stop myself from thinking about the pain of the 800 and how difficult it was going to be. But it is a tough time. It's mentally quite draining.
So how were you feeling as you stood on the blocks?
Oh, before the 800, I was just an absolute nervous wreck. You could probably see how nervous. Yeah, so nervous.
You didn't look it though.
No.
If I'd been your opponent and I was looking for a chink in the armour, I wouldn't have looked at you and thought, oh, she's panicking. You looked very calm.
Oh no, inside my heart was racing, and it's just that bit before the 800 where the nerves and the adrenaline's pumping. I knew I could perform well in the 800, but you never know what to expect. But as soon as that gun went, I knew I'd just absolutely go for it.
Just for a brief moment, us up here thought, hang on a moment, on the second lap, Jabrinska goes past you, and we thought, oh no. Were you concerned?
No, I kind of felt it at the side of me, and I just thought there's no way that I'm letting her take this. I've worked so hard over these 2 days, and not to give it away right at the last minute, so I just gave it everything and sprinted to the line.
I mean, the way you took off, though, at that 200-metre mark was so emphatic, I was a bit worried about Jabrinska because she's been looking in great shape over the 2 days, completely different athlete to the one I guess you're used to, and I'm certainly used to seeing. But you down the home straight, you were driving with such determination for that line. I mean, I have to say, I did want you to get the record. It was kind of those double-edged things. Is she going to do it? Is she not going to do it? And you were so close. Well, you must have been a bit gutted because you gave your all through that 800.
Yeah, I was definitely. I think before the 800, I sat down with Tony, and he told me that I needed to run 2:09 to break the record. So yeah, I went out there, wanting to go and get your record, but it wasn't meant to be, and it was so close. But for me, it was about holding on to that gold medal and making sure that I didn't let go of that.
Michael?
Jess, what's the plan from here? I mean, we've been talking about, we've gotten ahead of ourselves. I know that you can't, but we've been talking about 2012, of course, and what this means going into 2012. Obviously, you are the face of that Olympics, and I've been in that position before. How do you balance the next 2 years, and what's the plan for you to be at peak position in 2012 in London?
I think it's about being sensible. I think it's about taking those steps and moving my training on and progressing, but also not pushing things too much and getting injured. So yeah, I'll sit down with my coach, we'll debrief on this year and look at moving forwards. Next year is going to be a really important year leading into the Olympics, so I want to make sure that I'm performing well then, and then just maintaining everything through to the Olympics and trying to handle the pressure and just performing.
How do you balance?
I was going to say, because you couldn't move in Atlanta in '96 for posters of you absolutely everywhere, So how did you, because it's going to be the situation you're going to find yourself in 2 years' time, how did you cope with that 14 years ago?
Yeah, I flew into Atlanta for the opening ceremonies and flew back home because athletics starts in the second week of the games of the 3 weeks. So I actually flew back home to be out of that environment so that I could be in a focused and controlled environment. But I think that, that's obviously one area of danger during the actual games, and you'll be shocked. You will get a call from someone the day that you're about to compete saying, hey, Jess, can you give me tickets? You will get that call. It will shock you, but you will get that call. But I think the bigger danger is, the couple of years leading up, because there's so much excitement about the games. And so, how do you balance the opportunities? Because there will be many opportunities, as I'm sure you're starting to get those calls now, but you have to balance that against the training. So, what's your plan in terms of, the opportunities that come before the games, and to be, part of the marketing and efforts to build up the games, and for different companies and sponsors against what you have to do is to go out there and train every day to be ready.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I think it's just getting that balance between training hard and performing, and maintaining what I can do. But also balancing the commercial side of it and the marketing. Obviously, I want to do as much as I can to promote the Olympics. It's a great experience and a one-off, opportunity. But I'm very aware that, if I go off and do all that fun side of it, that I'm not going to perform on the track, and that's what I ultimately want to achieve. So I'm going to keep focused and just keep driving for it.
How was it yesterday with the family watching?
Oh, it was so nice.
Because is it right, they'd never seen you perform at a senior level before?
This was the first major championship that they've been here for.
And was that a conscious decision in the past, that you didn't want them there, or did they not want to be there?
No, I think deep down my mum felt a little bit that she was jinxing me, especially after Beijing when everyone bought their tickets and it went horribly wrong. But no, it was so nice to have them there on the home straight. I clocked them as soon as I came round, and it was just really emotional and a really, really special moment.
I mean, your dad was going mad, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Did you see him?
I did. They showed me a clip after the race. He was absolutely loving it. Just to have everyone there, he's going crazy. He's just so proud, and it's an amazing, amazing moment.
And how was it when you all met up last night?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We all had a few drinks and celebrated. So I'm a little bit tired today, but it's just an amazing night.
Listen, you're captain of the team. You gave a speech before this all started. What did you say? Because it must have been supremely motivational, because look what you've done.
Yes, it was really motivational. I can't honestly remember what I said, to be honest. It was just, I tried to just talk about my personal experiences and the coping with disappointment of injury and coming through that, and just making the most of these opportunities and these unique experiences. And hopefully I inspired them a little bit.
And the plan for the next, will you be at Crystal Palace, for example, on Friday week?
Yeah, hopefully. I hope to compete there, and maybe a couple more races, and then have a little bit of a break, and then the cycle begins again. Yeah,
sure. Well, it's a never ending, isn't it? You are the hamster on the wheel, but it's a pretty lucrative wheel.
It is.
And just as a final thought, sitting here now, you sat in our presentation box after Berlin. How does now compare? Do you feel much bigger as a person, if you like, much more in control?
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot since last year and coming into this year. I think I have built as a person, as an athlete, and it's great to have all these experiences that I can draw on now for the future, and especially in 2012.
Listen, we've got a small presentation to make tonight. Excuse me a second. Be back in a moment. But what we thought is, as we are in Barcelona, we'd get you a Barcelona football shirt.
That's brilliant.
So we actually used it for one of our openings on the programme a couple of days ago. But I think, I'm not sure what size you are, but anyway, I know you're not a great football fan, but I think your boyfriend will like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen.
Oh, thank you ever so much. Thank you.
Lovely to see you, and thanks so much for giving us such fun over the last 36 hours. It's been great to watch you.
Thank you.
Thanks an awful lot. Okay, well, we're obviously a bit.
Former world record holder for the decathlon, one of the greats, Thomas Dvorak of the Czech Republic. He's going to present the medals. Can't wait to see Jess smile again.
And bronze medalist representing Germany, Jennifer Oeser.
Jennifer Oeser had a good couple of days. Finished off day one with a lifetime best in the 200 meters. Started off the next day with a big personal best in the long jump. Germans keep on turning out very good multi-event athletes. Silver medal goes to a lady who really has had to rebuild her career since winning the Olympic title in Beijing, and she's done it well over the last 24 months. She's trained really hard, and she set a lifetime best performance for the overall score, and a silver medal for the Ukraine is the result. But the Jess Ennis story continues. What a great story it is.
New European champion and gold medalist, representing Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Jessica Ennis.
Jess has done it again. World champion, world indoor champion, now she's the European champion. It's taken her 5 years to convert the European junior title into a senior title. And now she'll move forward. And one day, who knows, she may have done a career Grand Slam of all the great titles the world of athletics has to offer. But meanwhile, she'll be very happy having become European champion with a new personal best performance, 6,823 points, just short of the record set by Denise Lewis. She's not just the best in Europe with the score she set over the last 2 days. She's definitely the world #1 too in 2010. Well done to Jess Ennis.
Congratulations once again to Sheffield's Jess Ennis. The 24-year-old added European heptathlon gold to her growing list of honours after success in Barcelona at the weekend.
It was Britain's best medal haul at any European Championships, and earlier today the team landed back in the country. Chris Dawkes reports.
Draped in a Union flag once again after another golden performance from Jessica Ennis. The Great Britain team captain went into the event as favourite, and with UK Athletics coach Charles Van Comeny claiming that anything other than a gold would be a disappointment, the pressure was certainly on. Jess held a slender lead of just 18 points going into her final event, the 800 metres. And with 250 metres remaining, she trailed challenger Natalia Dobrinska. With her parents cheering her on, she found that extra strength reserved for the final push and romped home to claim a European title, to add to her world indoor and outdoor gold she's won in the past 12 months.
And she confirms her status as the very best.
It's been a really good year this year and obviously last year, so I just want to keep moving forwards and improving and staying injury free and just making sure I'm really ready for next year and the year after.
Back on home soil, Jess reflects on what was a highly successful championships for both herself and her Great Britain teammates.
It was brilliant. It was a very different competition to what I experienced in Berlin. I was pushed the whole way and it was a real big challenge, but yeah, it was a brilliant competition, and to see the Great Britain team win so many medals as well was really special.
Also returning was Wakefield's Martin Bernard, who claimed bronze in the high jump. His one of 19 medals for the Great Britain team.
I'm happy as well, just kind of be in the team, represent my country. And kind of last year I wasn't able to be there, so I'm happy to be back, and hopefully next year I can kind of even bump up to maybe that silver.
It'll be a busy few years for Jess and her teammates leading up to the London Olympics in 2012. But for now, Jess can return to Sheffield, basking in the glory of yet another championship win.
I'm so proud. I've had a lot of support from the city and looking forward to getting back and seeing everyone. But yeah, just glad I could win another medal and bring it back home.
Might have expected praise all round, but head coach Charles Van Comeny, while applauding some athletes for their success, had some pretty strong words for others. He described the performance of the women's 4x100 relay team as a disgrace, and he wasn't that impressed by the men's team either. Kevin Geary reports.
Jessica Ennis heading for Spanish gold. It's been a sudden shaft of welcome sunlight to lift the gloom of an otherwise somewhat chastening British sporting summer. Led by heptathlete Jessica Ennis, Team GB took 6 golds, 19 medals in all, considerably more than expected. In fact, 8 potential medal winners didn't even make the championships through injury. For the athletes returning home today, the momentum gained could be significant with the London Olympics less than 2 years away.
It was a real big challenge, but yeah, it was a brilliant competition, and to see the Great Britain team win so many medals as well was really special.
The future, though, shouldn't be seen as rose-tinted. These were just the European Championships. The global competition at the Olympics will be much stiffer. For example, Mo Farah, winner of double golds in the 5,000 and 10,000 metres, is ranked only 24th in the world. The head coach knows that continued improvement is imperative.
Every athlete has to improve in order to be at their very best on the most important time of the year, August 2012. That's what counts, and this has been a great platform, and we're looking for further improvement.
And there are clearly areas which need more work.
Sprint relays, let's say, the women were a disgrace, and the men, not much better. It is important to face the reality in order to learn lessons and move forward. If you just dismiss it and think it's bad luck, the chance of it happening again are much higher.
The team, though, appear to have bought into his no-nonsense approach.
I call him like the Jose Mourinho of athletics because he's so passionate. He'll show his temper, but he'll also show his sensitive side, and he'll talk fair and he'll talk the truth. And I think because we haven't had necessarily a head coach who's been truthful and honest to every athlete on a one-to-one basis, people respect him for that.
The Olympic podium will be harder to scale, but there's every indication that British athletics is heading in the right direction. Kevin Geary, BBC News.
Time for the weather now with Darren Bett. Hello.
On to sport now. And over the years, Yorkshire has produced some sporting icons, but we're going to have to pull out all the stops to get anyone as good as Jessica Ennis again, aren't we?
Yes, the Sheffield heptathlete not only roared to gold at the European Athletics Championships, but Jess and the squad arrived back in this country today. Paul Ogden reports.
All summer, we've been hanging out our flags, hoping for sporting heroics, only to be disappointed until now. If we just banked our emotions straight on the girl from much closer to home, Sheffield's Jessica Ennis, we'd have saved ourselves a lot of time and flag money. After grabbing European gold again in Barcelona this weekend, Jessica Ennis is already the bookies' favourite for the Olympic heptathlon on home soil in 2012. Reigning world champion, utterly dominant she might be, but Jessica had to fight hard for gold this time, roared on by mum and dad in the stadium. The small points gap she held over Ukrainian rival Dobrinska after day one kept on being whittled down to the end. And a further challenge came on the very last bend of the final event, the 800 metres.
This is brave. This is fast. Jessica Ennis heading for home. Nobody else can live with the pace of Jessica Ennis. Over 2 days, she's been absolutely brilliant.
It is a lot of pressure and a lot of expectation, but I'm just so happy and so proud of myself that I've dealt with it and, used it to my advantage. And just watching everyone win so many medals for the team has just been so inspiring and added a bit more pressure, to be honest. But I'm just so proud of how the team's done, how I've done tonight.
Arriving home today, a fine ambassador for her sport and country, even through fatigue.
It's been a really good year this year and obviously last year, so I just want to keep moving forwards and improving and staying injury free and just making sure I'm really ready for next year and the year after.
So, whether you're a family member or just another awestruck admirer of true athletic brilliance, let's start rehearsing now, shall we? This is how we hope to be reacting to Jessica Ennis or any other athlete from Britain in 2012. The standards and celebrations were made in Yorkshire.
Well, joining us now is one of Jessie's coaches, Mick Hill, a former Olympic javelin thrower, who's now Director of Athletics at Leeds Met University. You were just saying before we actually sat down, what a wonderful spirit she's got. She's such a perfect person to coach.
Oh, she's magnificent. I mean, she comes to train up at the Met and all the students, the athletes who see her up there can't believe, first of all, how small she is, but certainly how pleasant, how nice. But underneath all that and the small exterior, there's quite an athlete, and she's very special.
And what you've done in the space of the 6 years, I think you've worked with her on the discipline of the javelin, is you've improved her from what, 28 metres
28 when we started, she's up to 46, so still a work in progress, but it's getting respectable. It's great to hear the commentators saying she looks like a javelin thrower now.
Because it was a bogey event, wasn't it, really?
I think it's been hers and Kelly Sutherton's. It was the one that was going to cost them medals, we see her throwing now. It's absolutely magnificent, and if it gets over the 50-metre line, then you know, it's getting towards world class.
The great thing about it, you look at one of the disciplines, of course, and Tony Michela, who is the main coach of what she does, looks after the ones that she's brilliant at as well.
Exactly. I mean, it's pointless of getting really good at javelin and then forgetting how to high jump, how to hurdle, how to do the 200. So he does a magnificent job in being the conductor of the orchestra, if you like. And obviously we've got to improve the javelin, the shot, to make sure that these girls that are chasing after her just don't catch her.
I mean, of course, this is just a wonderful, wonderful event, and it's fantastic that she won gold. But she was so disappointed, wasn't she, not to go to the Olympics because of that injury. And she must be looking 2012, 2012, 2012.
Absolutely, and it's a cruel sport sometimes in athletics. I mean, we've 2 years, we've got a national treasure that we're all looking after. I mean, I feel a great responsibility that, you know, people are going to be looking at what I'm doing and don't injure this girl. So, but no, she was very disappointed, but I mean, it shows the character in the girl too. She had a magnificent team behind her. It wasn't just her, but the medical team, her coaching staff, you know, came back and won the world title last year. And then after that, all the media attention. But, you know, I didn't really get back training until nearly Christmas because of all the demands on her time. So, you know, she's coping with that now really well. She's almost 100 points better, and she can get better still. So it's exciting times.
It is, isn't it?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's now turn to
Sports roundup, but she is the golden girl of the British athletics team and one of their greatest hopes for success at London 2012. Heptathlete Jessica Ennis has just added the European Championship title to her already long list of honours. She's now the world top-ranked heptathlete. I'm pleased to say she joins us here now. Thank you ever so much for coming in. Jessica, we knew you were in good form in the run-up to the European Championships, but you've got to be pleased with the manner of your gold medal, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely delighted. It was one of the toughest heptathlons I've done. It was so close between all of us. So it went right down to the last event. So to win it and come out on top was, you know, it's amazing.
And you've got your gold medal there. I know there's a bit of a frantic dashing around in the background there trying to get it. But I mean, it wasn't just you winning gold. It was a spectacular few days for the whole of Team GB. What was the mood like?
Yeah, we had an absolutely amazing championships. We prepared really well at the Aviva holding camp in Portugal, and there's a really good atmosphere in the camp, and obviously it showed in our performances out in Barcelona, so it was a brilliant performance by the whole team.
And you've said now that's the end of your season after that fantastic success. How much does London 2012 influence your decision from now?
Oh, it's the driving factor for everything at the moment. It's so important that I get the balance right. It's important that I get training and, you know, get everything done, but also make sure that I'm resting and recovering and able to build on each season. So that's really why I've taken this opportunity to end the season at this stage and just have a bit of a rest and freshen up and start again next year.
And what do you see as your biggest areas to work on going forward? We've got some pictures of you last week. This is the long jump, I think. What are you focusing on from now?
Definitely the long jump. That's a really key event, and it's become a lot more consistent for me this year, but I still need to make some improvements on it. And then again in the throws, I feel there's a lot more to come from that. So I'll just keep chipping away at it and hoping that it all comes together in 2012.
And it was a great week for Team GB at the Euros, but how do they, or how far do they act as a measure of how the team stands going into the Olympics in a world event, do you think?
I think we're still 2 years away, so, you know, a lot's going to change in that time, but I think it's a good indication. I think we've, you know, proven this year that we're in great shape, that we're coming through and improving year upon year, and it's just a great reflection of how things are going, and it's just, you know, getting everyone involved and really drumming up interest in the sport.
Jessica, what I want to know is you're really good at all those events, so, you know, the javelin, long jump, what are you rubbish at? What sports? I mean, if I gave you a table tennis bat or
I'd be terrible.
How are you? What about swimming?
I'm okay at swimming, not brilliant though. Yeah.
Are there some kind of bogey sports that you really are? You've kind of picked up a racket or something that you just can't do.
And
people
loads.
go, come on, you must be brilliant.
No, there's loads. I'm brilliant at what I do, but then all the other sports, tennis, swimming, yeah, I don't think I'd be that good, to be honest.
And I've heard is there a rumour that you might move away, well, not move away from the heptathlon, at 2012, but might you compete in the 110 hurdles as an event on its own?
Yeah, I think my sole focus is the heptathlon, and that's really what I'm wanting to achieve in. But if there's an opportunity and I qualify to do the hurdles, then, you know, why not do it? It's a home Olympics and, you know, make the most of it. So, yeah, I would definitely give that a go.
And when I was watching your events, I was struck. I mean, you were here once before, and I asked you the same question about your diminutive size. And I was struck by so many of the women you're competing against are huge by comparison.
Yeah, most of the heptathletes are quite tall, strong girls, and when I first started in the heptathlon, I kind of looked up at everyone and thought, oh, am I going to be good at this? But, you know, I've proven that it doesn't matter if you're small, you can still achieve a lot.
And is it different now? They're looking at you as the one to beat. Do you like that, or do you prefer being the one chasing them?
I still feel like I'm the one chasing, to be honest. It doesn't feel that different, but it is a nice position to be in, and I'm kind of just making the most of it and enjoying being at the top and hoping that it lasts. Jessica, lots of people talk about sports psychology and how in this country we're not very good at nailing that sort of can-do, win attitude. So what do you do that helps you get in the right mindset? I think it's a number of things. I think it's obviously experience and experience in different championships and different situations, which helps build your mental strength. And a lot of athletes work with sports psychologists, which help tackle certain events. And obviously the pressure is going to be massive when it comes around to London 2012. So it's something that I think we need to keep an eye on and address. Do you have hypnosis tapes or something that you go to sleep listening to? No.
And what about superstitions? Do you have any things that you do before or just before an event or anything like that?
I suppose I have little superstitions, yeah,
like
but
what?
I'm not going to tell you.
Go on.
One of them is not telling television presenters what her superstitions are. Lovely to see you. Congratulations.
Thanks
Just
for
hold the
coming.
medal up again for us all to see. It's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can we see that? It's like a sort of ribbon, folded ribbon. It's beautiful. Congratulations. Well
Thank you.
deserved. Thanks very much indeed. 8:42 time.
Got some great athletes on the course and off the course as well. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by newly crowned European champion in heptathlon, Jess Ennis. Jess, we seem to meet here every year, don't we?
I know, I think this is my third time here, so yeah, it's a brilliant event and it's great to be part of it again this year.
Now, if you look back for the last, let's say, 13 months, it's been really quite amazing, hasn't it? World champion outdoors in Berlin, world indoor champion in Doha, and now European champion. It couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant 18 months. Everything's kind of fallen into place really well, and just having the season I've had this year and being crowned, champion at Barcelona was just an amazing feeling, and yeah, really happy and pleased with the way the year's gone.
And if you look back to that, missing Beijing because of the stress fracture and the journey through to London 2012, I mean, how much do you, you finished your season now, how much do you still almost need to protect your body with all the stresses and strains that are on it from competing?
I think that's what I learnt the most about that injury, that obviously you have to push yourself and you have to train hard as an athlete, but you also have to make sure you're recovering and making sure that you're getting all the rest you need to make sure that you're healing and everything's ticking over well for the following year. So that was a big part of the decision I made this year to cut the season, end the season after Barcelona and just rest and really get ready for next year.
European indoors or not?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I plan to do an indoor season, so I'd love to do the pentathlon at the European indoors.
And you've got, we saw a great competition with Dabrinska in the Europeans. Heilis Fountain from the USA looking in great form. You have got your work cut out these next 2 years. It's going to be very, very tough.
It's going to be really tough. Yeah, like you say, Heilis Fountain will be there next year, and Dabrinska's pushing me all the way. And they're only going to get better, and leading into the World Championships next year and the Olympics the year after. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's a challenge that I'm looking forward to, and just hoping I can improve as well.
Well, Jess, a brilliant performance this year. Look forward to seeing you next year, hopefully as world's champion. And I'll let you get away now to start the race.
Thank
you. Do your official duties, and we'll join our commentary team of Paul Dickinson and Steve Cram.
Well, Jess, last year we were celebrating the World Championships. As world #1, you went into 2 major competitions. How tough was it going in there as the overwhelming favourite?
Yeah, it was definitely pressure, and just having the amazing year in 2009, and I was over the moon with my performance coming back from injury, and just wanted to prove that I could build on that the following year. And obviously having the the Europeans and the World Indoors, it was a really big year again. So I was very nervous and anxious to see what I could do again.
You did so well. Now most of us here, we only have to try and excel in one sport. You've got to do it in 7 events. How tough is it training and trying to perfect those 7 events?
I think I've been doing it for so long now, so I'm really used to it, but it is tough. It's really tough. You've obviously got 7 technical events, all the training, all the horrible hill runs in the snow, and the terrible conditions we have at the moment. And it is hard, but it's so worth it. You put yourself and your body through so much pain, but then when you cross that line after 800, you've done it and you've got the gold medal, it's an unbelievable feeling.
I know you were so disappointed to miss out in Beijing, so how much are you looking forward to the Games in London? Because you are now the face of London 2012.
Yeah, it's definitely my biggest challenge to come. Missing Beijing was a massive disappointment, but I think it's definitely made me stronger. It's pushed me on and it's given me that extra drive to achieve in the next couple of years, and I just can't wait for that moment in London 2012.
Well, stay healthy. You were unbeatable this year. Good luck next year. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Ennis.